news you missed. And what better way to start our show each week than to plunge headfirst into the news and headlines that the networks probably didn't pick up. I mean, some of these I know that the networks have been paying attention to, so I can't say all of them. But they definitely didn't come at it with our bias, that asshole-ish atheist bias that we tend to have. So how about the first little bit of news that we have was the Trump tape that dropped.
The fucking Trump tape.
And I will be playing the audio for that on our Fun with Real Audio coming up in a couple of segments. But I'm sure everybody's heard about it. So, I mean, we don't need to give you guys all the details. But the producer for Donald Trump's show, The Apprentice, warns that there are far worse Trump tapes coming soon.
Mm-hmm. There's so much more and so much worse.
So Bill Pruitt, the producer of the first and second seasons of The Apprentice, tweeted on Saturday that I assure you, when it comes to hashtag Trump tapes, there are far worse, and ended his hashtag with hashtag just the beginning. And so let's see. So Ben Carson also told Fox News that there is more to come. So Ben Carson knows that there's other shit out there. And he says that they have more things and they will drip them out. Yeah, and if this is the October surprise,
hiding them in my luggage.
And if this is the October surprise that Hillary Clinton had planned on, I bet you this is just the tip of the iceberg because it just barely started. And so they're going to drag his fucking name through the mud. Just dragging it through the mud for like the next month. It's going to be amazing. So
the shitty part about this is, for anybody who's actually been paying attention, this is not new. This is not news. This is not even surprising. No. There are so many people who are just like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's one of those
just more. He just more shitty stuff that he said.
That's what. That's how the Don works.
It's not that surprising. It's not that. I mean, it's extremely controversial, but it's not that surprising given the people that were willing to listen to accusers and I mean, even people that are against the entire campaign itself. Have been saying this for quite some time. Actually, since the very beginning, since his first run, the last time. But it takes an actual audio clip of that you can't deny
of a
to
hot
say,
mic.
Oh, exactly, of a hot mic that says, "Oh yeah, well maybe he is as big of a dickhead that everyone has said he was. We probably should have." Oh wait, no. Let me rephrase that. We probably shouldn't have or should have listened. It's who cares? We finally heard it, and now we have to react. There's no proaction; it's only reaction.
So Mike Lee, Jason Chaffetz, two of our local guys have, and even John Huntsman have come out saying, "Dude, you need to step down. You need to stop." Now, the surprising name in that group was John Huntsman because he's establishment Republican. Mm-hmm. And Mike Lee and Chaffetz are on the side of whoever, Glenn Beck is on the side of, really, because Mike Lee and Glenn Beck are butt buddies. So they all wanted Ted Cruz.
They're all shit stained. So,
speaking of Glenn Beck.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, let me finish this little point. He, before the release of the Trump video, called Trump the right's Anthony Weiner. That's fitting.
God, no. Anthony Weiner. At least everything Weiner did was consensual.
It could be debated
to a certain extent. Could be, but
you've got a sliding scale of consent in this particular case, I suppose.
I mean, you don't have Anthony Weiner going around grabbing him by the pussy like Trump would say.
Yeah. I don't know.
How do you even do that?
Maybe there was an unsolicited dick pic from Anthony Weiner. But no, I don't know how Trump grabs anybody by the pussy. He's got to use both of his tiny hands to get in there.
he may have much like most Republicans that legislate against women's private parts, have a view of that particular region that doesn't reflect reality.
Yeah.
Maybe it's got a handle, or maybe it's got a rope coming out of it.
It's got a horn.
Or it's got a horn.
That's evil.
Something.
You don't touch those.
Grab them by the teeth.
The vaginal dentata. There's a movie out there called Teeth. I want you guys to Google that one.
Reach down and
shut my computer down.
Yeah, it's
reach
terrible.
down and grab them by the teeth.
Now, being someone that, and I'll out myself here. I haven't been an extreme liberal or atheist for my entire life.
Yeah.
I actually just sent a picture out today with Jason Chaffetz and I together because I worked on his campaign.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Yeah. Awesome.
So
he's probably so disappointed in you right now.
It totally is. But not only did I chase him down, I didn't have to chase him down because we knew each other, during a parade in Spanish Fork to take a picture. I printed that picture out, went to the next showing of his presence, and had him sign it. So that was a few years ago.
Call me crazy, but he's one of those guys that I think is never going to leave. He's never going to leave once he's in there.
No, he won't. He loves the attention way too much.
I'm sleeping in the cot in my office.
Exactly.
Oh, you're doing such good work. No,
the problem is he's extremely likable in person until you actually get into politics, which is
I don't
talk to you, he's very interactive. He's awesome. He's a great guy on the surface, but when you actually get to any content, he's a horrible human being.
So he's like that bowl of oatmeal in The Golden Child, where like it's oatmeal on top, and then you start getting down into it, and there's blood, and you're like,
God.
Good reference.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's a
point.
Oh, that was wow. I had forgotten about that.
My dear brother,
that was horrific.
That's one of the HBO movies that was always fucking on when I was a kid. So
yeah, it was. Yeah. Damn, I need to go watch that again.
Movie. So you got the long straw on that one.
I think I watched every Jean-Claude movie that was out. I'm pretty sure I've seen them all.
Probably.
Top one of his would probably be Universal Soldier for me.
Oh, Universal Soldier had to be there, which coincidentally had to had Jackie Chan in it originally. So, but he could not.
And then
for the United States,
Bloodsport and Kickbox. What was the second one? The one where he was kicking trees. Fuck was that one? Or was that the first Bloodsport?
That was first Bloodsport, and then I don't know. It's been too many years.
I just remember Ogre was like fighting in the Kumite also, and the Thai dude like snapped his neck.
Yep. Amazing.
Yeah, we got the geekery coming up in a little bit, so you guys stay tuned. We're gonna have fun with that one. So, let's see. Apparently, 4chan might be on the ropes right now. They not by having controversial stuff going on, not by having one of the blackest pits of humanity when it comes to politics. If you go to /Paul. But since Chris Poole took off about a few years ago from handling it, Hiroyuki Nishimura has been running 4chan, and apparently they can't afford the infrastructure costs or network fees or server costs, CDN, and etc. because everybody's got ad blockers. And that kind of advertising just doesn't cut it anymore. I mean, you can't, banner ads don't bring in shit, and so they can't get enough people to pay monthly subscriptions to do it like how Reddit has.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, I think Reddit would be actually worthwhile.
I agree.
It tends to be a little bit less. Well, just go to 4chan. You know exactly what we're talking about. But I mean, I
was going to say 4chan does have its place. In fact, just recently, Netflix dropped the We Are Legion documentary, which is actually pretty cool. So it's about 4chan and the starting
Anonymous
of Anonymous.
The Church of Scientology and all that fun stuff. They had a lot of great stuff that they did back in the past. I mean, it's not all like no, I'm not even going to say. Just if you guys because I've been in part of 4chan and 8chan and stuff for a number of years. So just Google stuff like GNAA.
No, don't do that.
No, don't do it at work because you will get fired. But I'm just saying that there's a lot of stuff out there where like it's more than just like lolcats. It's more than just funny memes and stuff like that. There's a lot of other stuff where you laugh at it at the same time. But then again, they'll be posting videos of like the latest beheadings and stuff like that, and they're like laughing at it. And it's like, oh my god, this is what humanity has. Like, you definitely get to see the breadth of humanity in a place like that.
Yeah.
So
you really do. I don't know how they're going to actually attract advertisers.
Exactly. And so I remember them
not
talking.
Not the advertisers that they really want.
So the owner of the website says they either have to slow the site down, which will turn a lot of people away, of course, because everybody wants it now. Mm-hmm. Limit the size of pictures, which I don't see why they don't do that already.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, make everybody get an Imager account or make your own kind of thing like that. Let's see, or add more ads. So, which they'll have to do the banner ads and the porn ads and stuff because nobody else wants to give 4chan money.
Right. But even that might backfire because people will just find a way to block those.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly. And it's funny, a lot of the sites that I go to where they're like, oh, it seems you're running an ad blocker. Would you please turn that off so that we're not going to let you read this article until you turn it off? And I'm like, nope, your site's not that important. Back button.
Oh, never mind.
Never mind.
I will not take this survey to continue to your article.
No, and I'm not going to sign up for a fucking account. Are you kidding me? You're just a news site. I don't need this shit right now. And so apparently Martin Shkreli, the asshole of pharmacology, has sent them a Twitter message saying, hey, I'm interested, DM me. So there's a potential that he might be buying it out. So
oh shit.
This is the asshole that has that. This is the fucking asshole that has that one Wu-Tang album that they made it so they would only one person could have it. And he's never going to listen to it. He's like, I don't even like Wu-Tang Clan. And like everybody that's a fan of the group is like, bruh, I'm like, really? Just bought it because I'm an asshole. And he really is an asshole. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, he's the Napoleon of pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
And you guys heard about the fundraiser that he was having to whoever gets the highest bid to punch him in the face. The guy that he was going to be giving that money to, the fundraiser is like a guy that does a lot of the porn stuff on the internet. So it's not like the guy really needs the money. So anyway, let's move on from a business-minded asshole to a business-minded country. Germany, we have a bunch of lawmakers that are voting to ban the internal combustion engine.
That is so weird, and I don't know how they're okay.
So the country that was responsible for the first internal combustion engine, I think like it would be in the 1800s, I believe, because I think the first Mercedes or the Daimler, whatever the fuck it was, it's the car you get in Gran Turismo 4 that has 1 horsepower. It turns like a pig. It's terrible. So Germany is reported yesterday morning that the country's top legislative body was to reach a bipartisan agreement that allows only zero-emission vehicles on EU roads in the next 14 years. So that's pretty fucking awesome.
Ways out, but I guess
it's a start.
That's the direction. That's the direction we need to go. So,
Germany has a long history of actually having some fairly good. Well, not only engineering when it comes to Ferdinand Porsche and the invention of the Beetle and the People Mover. He was he was part of the electric chaise movement where they would actually race these electric hybrid cars, and they ended up for the time, considering how heavy batteries were and the way energy was actually stored.
Everything was liquid batteries back then too.
Exactly. It was extremely amazing. And they also had military vehicles that were in the kind of in the fashion of a train that had electric hubs to go in and out of all these small cities within Germany and within the surrounding countries that were very German and very good and very economical, and then ended up it was too expensive to keep going, and then the war effort ended, the money dried up, and so Ferdinand Porsche and the Nazi Party couldn't afford to continue to do any more research when it came to economical vehicles for people and people of the war and people in the war. So,
well, I don't know about you guys, but I've looked heavily at getting a electric vehicle for my next car. There's starting to be actual decent competition now. It's not just Tesla anymore, which I really want a Model 3, but I don't know if I can wait like 2 more years for that shit. And So the Volkswagen makes a pretty good one right now, where it gets like 120 miles per charge, which is just fine for me, and it gets about as much torque as you can get out of like a regular Golf turbo. So I don't give a shit. I'm about ready to jump into a battery powered car.
Yeah.
Well, and Chevy makes them, but God damn it, I'm never buying a Chevy to save my life.
You don't want to drive a Leaf around everywhere? Isn't that the Chevys?
No, that's the Bolt or the Volt.
That's Nissan.
Nissan
the Volt.
is the Leaf.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, the
You're
Volt.
right.
Yeah, the Volt, but it's not a pure. That's not a true electric vehicle.
You have the Bolt, which has a combustion engine that can recharge if your battery dies, and then you have the Volt, which is the all electric one.
Yeah,
which is
like the fat tie that your grandpa gave you, and you have to wear it to work because it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it works, it does its job, but hey, looks like shit.
Same thing with the Leaf. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, but I couldn't be seen driving that around. Looks like all you got to do is slap a Sanrio sticker on it. It's a Hello Kitty car.
There you go.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. Yeah. I don't know. I think this is going to be interesting. It provides a lot of incentive.
Yeah.
To make something pretty innovative.
Well, and I think if you give them 14 years to make it so this is not going to happen anymore, and these are the only kind of cars we're going to expect and want to see, that gives people plenty of time to first get rid of their old ass clunkers and B, settle into a new thing. So I think it's a good idea. Do you think? I sincerely think that's never going to fucking happen in America.
No, it will. It'll eventually happen.
You are so. You have such faith in humanity. It's going to be exactly like the Second Amendment assholes be like, you can have my internal combustion engine over my dead body. My Second Amendment rights.
It's going to get to the point. I mean, Europe is eventually going to go all EV.
And then they won't be able to buy those anymore.
So they're not going to be producing internal combustion anymore. So if American car companies want to be able to compete overseas, they're going to have to produce EVs.
I think it's a good thing.
They're eventually going to decide that it's not worth it to keep producing internal combustion just for one country.
And on top of that, I may be jaded in my circle of friends and my circle of acquaintances, but there's a definite want and a definite need for alternative fuel or electric vehicles. And me personally, I would spend the extra money. We just bought a new car and we're looking to buying another new one in the next year or two. And
just thinking of money you would save on fuel. Yeah.
I drive. I drove a big old SUV for a long time and decided, I drive too much. I'm going to buy a tiny, teeny little car, and I just drive it around at 40 miles per gallon. But I'm even at 40 miles per gallon, I think that's too much. We can afford to do so much better than that.
Yeah, when you actually hold a gallon of fuel in your hand and you're like, this thing that can never be recovered is what I use to go 40 miles. And you think about the offset of how many hundreds of pounds, or probably shouldn't be hundreds of pounds of noxious fumes come out from that. I mean, a lot of water comes out of it too, but there's a lot of noxious shit that comes out of it. And so it's just such a fucking waste.
And on top of that, especially with what Tesla has done, the modular system, where if something fails, they have something you can literally bolt out and bolt back in. That internal combustion engines are incapable of. It's impossible. You can't do that.
A lot of people drive cars and they don't have any kind of innate understanding of how they work. It is a fucking miracle that these things work as well as they do.
For someone who's had many, many weekends tinkering elbow deep in grease.
I've shredded multiple knuckles working on cars and shit. So
lots. Yep.
Yeah. Just because that wrench decides to slip right when you are putting the most amount of torque on it.
Every time.
What do you mean that's metric? My knuckles didn't need a metric.
Okay, so moving on from cars, let's talk about the Chinese. Apparently, they're starting to get really fucking aggressive. I mean, we know that they've been this way already because they're setting up the bases in the South China Sea, but they're starting to get much more warlike when it comes to this stuff. So China has given signs that it had no intention to respect the Hague's ruling, which they ruled against the China's 9 dash line in the South China Sea. But lately they've been stepped up a notch, with the AFP reporting that a Beijing minister urged preparations for a, quote, people's war at sea. So China's state-run media has been awash with a whole bunch of bluster on the subject of their military and sovereignty, and they went as far as to challenge Australia directly. If Australia steps into the South China Sea waters, it will be an ideal target for China to warn and strike. China's becoming a lot like the Republican South.
Yeah.
This is a sovereign nation.
Well, how quickly will that go away as soon as they get trade sanctions? I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
There's so much of their economy is dependent on trade with other countries.
So on Weibo, their state-regulated blogging site, Lian Fong, a professor at the military-run National Defense University, said that the Chinese military will step up and fight hard, and China will never submit to any country on matters of sovereignty. So that sounds a lot like Imperial Japan.
Yeah.
So Beijing has gone as far.
Their outcome. What do they expect? Like, really?
They want Taiwan. That's what they want back. And then
okay, have it now.
Well, then they're going to go for China. Then they're going to go for all the other. They're gonna if they're not putting checks in. I mean, and I'm not urging war or anything like that, but fuck, you got to put these people in check, because they can't just go, this is mine now. This is mine now. You know. And of course, Trump is blustering at the whole, Russia came in and took over part of Ukraine. I didn't know that until after I got fact checked on it. But
it seems as though China's just trying to grab everybody by the pussy, and I don't know how well that's going to work.
So Beijing has gone so far as to announce a no-sail zone in international waters, which you can't do that.
No,
because every other country has said at X amount of space out of the water, that's everybody's water. It's not a certain nation's anymore. So that violates international maritime laws and courtesy. And so this kind of a unilateral action would undoubtedly prompt a response from us in the United States, who we regularly patrol the waters of the South China Sea, because, Korea's an ally, Guam's an ally, that's not quite South China Sea, but we have South Korea as an ally. So China's even building up more and more military outposts in the region, building islands with like airstrips on them. So it's getting pretty goddamn serious. I don't think it's ever going to play out in like a Fallout kind of thing where we're going to war with China.
I would doubt that, seriously. I seriously wouldn't be surprised if that bluster just falls apart.
It's like calling a bluff. It's a huge, I'm calling a bluff.
Yeah.
And,
They're going so far as to say that they should, they're going to try to go back into Vietnam to make them part of the People's Republic. It's like they're trying to spread further and further, and it's crazy. So, let's see, what else do we have here? So, I mean, we have one of the biggest economies in the world, and so does China. So, and we're both nuclear armed and powered naval powers. I honestly, and I'm not going to say the might of the U.S. military, but we spend quite a bit on our fucking military for a reason. So I've looked at the aircraft carriers that they've had. It's a little pastime. I like looking at other countries' military shit, and they're building something right now, but so are we. So don't let the Republicans come out and say, oh, we need to build up our military. No, we're constantly doing that, guys.
Yeah, we really don't. Doing it.
And what's really funny,
the answer is not necessarily a military one either.
No, but the funny thing is, a unnamed Chinese source seemed especially aware of the potential for catastrophe in the military posturing by saying to Reuters, "Our Navy can't take on the Americans. We do not have that level of technology yet. The only people who would suffer would be the ordinary Chinese." So at least there's some cool heads.
They've already proven that they don't give a shit about.
Yeah, that's true. If there was a short documentary I watched this week about how the graphite or graphene, I can't remember what it is, that makes our batteries, how it's like choking a bunch of towns that they have in China. So more of the same. That's your Republican utopia for you guys. That's our inversion coming up here in a couple of weeks here in Utah, where it's going to be, the air is going to be thick and chewy. And I'm going to
call it Utah graphene at that point.
I'm going to have the raspiest voice because that's when my sinuses start acting funny.
Yeah, but at least you get to talk sexy to all the ladies in your life.
Yeah, that's true.
You think ladies listen? I haven't seen one email from a lady.
I didn't say
listener.
Ladies on the podcast. I said ladies in your life.
Wait, no, Sylvia listens. There we go.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, she's cool. Okay,
and Felicia does sometimes when she's here.
So let's see. The next news item that we have is the creationist Ken Ham argues that he is...
Buddy Ken Ham.
He is a person of color.
Good God. Okay.
So in an opinion piece for the Religion News Service, Ham argues it's a fact of science that all humans are the same basic color, just different shades. We are the world.
Exactly. Well, I have that record right here.
I guess he's not wrong, technically.
So Ham says that there are truly no white people or black people. No. I've met some translucent people that are white, and I've met some guys that if they were, and this isn't fucking racist, so don't say it's racist, people. I've met these people like Wesley Snipes, where if they closed their eyes and mouth, they could disappear into the night, you know? So, I know, fuck it. Yeah. But I just said translucent white people. I mean, you get like a light shining on them and they fucking catch fire. We all know those people, the especially gingers. So, oh wait, that's their word. Can't say that.
Yeah, don't say ginger.
Yeah. So, so while biologically we are all the same, the social construct of race is very real. Racism exists. Yep, I just probably dipped my toes in it there a little bit. And ignoring that does more to serve the racist than to help those being oppressed or discriminated against. So it's like the whole, I don't see color. No, you need to see color and appreciate the differences we all have. You know? So, and let's see. Ham even urges politicians to stop using the word race. Oh, that's a good one. I urge President Obama, Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, and others to abandon the word races and use people groups instead, to emphasize that we were all... Oh my God, he does have it. We are the world record. He's holding up to the camera. Guys, go see this on YouTube. That's fucking amazing.
Look at that.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
You don't have it in the dust sleeve? How dare you?
Oh no, it came out of the dust sleeve. It's actually in there.
You see, kids, there was this time ages ago where you'd put your vinyl inside this like paper condom to keep it nice and safe. I'll give an example. Ooh, that's sexy.
Isn't it though?
So anyway, he says call them people groups instead to emphasize we're all one race, one blood, and one family, and to get away from any racist connotations. That's a privileged white guy going, why can't we all just get along? Like, no, they're not getting along fine at all. Your privileged ass just built $100 million fucking ark with taxpayer money.
On everybody else's money. Yeah, that's the problem.
God damn it, man, this guy.
That's something that I didn't realize until the last few years, is how lucky I actually had it. And part of that actually, not even just part of it. Most of it is the color of my skin. Yep. Living in Utah, living in the privileged life in which I did, I had no idea something like other races and other problems and other things stemming from my actual, the level of melanin in my skin would cause any kind of an issue. And the denial of that, regardless of the readily available information out there, is just you can't deny it. Yeah, you can't deny it. At this point, it is, okay, now I know, especially someone like Ken Ham, that is out there in the public. He's not an idiot. I mean, I can't say he's a moron, that he's not looking up this stuff, or not being, maybe not looking up this stuff, but not being introduced and not being, people are obviously saying, hey, look this up. Pay attention to this. This is the actual situation. Yeah. He is willfully ignorant and, continues along that path. And that's something that I didn't know when I was younger, but obviously you can't deny that. Once it comes into the light and you realize, oh yeah, guess what? I was really, really lucky, and I either choose to be a dick and go against it, or I can try to fix it, or try to help it, or at least try to understand and be empathetic to those around me. And he doesn't possess that.
No. And so from the article that we got, this came from him at Meta. He said that ideally in a perfect world, we wouldn't bother with race or groups, but ignoring that they exist now is simply dangerous and only benefits the race or group at the top. Nice way of saying, check your privilege.
Check your privilege. Yes. Make sure it fits in the overhead bin.
Yeah. The very last news item that we have for you guys this week is we have a Canadian atheist who files a human rights complaint after being forced to attend AA. So Byron Wood, a nurse from Vancouver, was going through a rough time in his life a few years ago, suffering the aftermath of a mix of alcohol and drugs. He went to a local clinic where the doctor committed him to hospital. Wood became a non-practicing nurse in that time, with the understanding that once he completed a recovery program, he'd be able to practice again. The problem is that he was told to join AA as part of his rehab. And so Wood attended a residential treatment program in Ontario in the spring of 2014, staying for 5 weeks, though he took issue with their methods. And he's quoted as saying here, "If I question the 12-step philosophy or try to discuss scientific explanations and treatments for addiction, because he's a practicing nurse, I was labeled as in denial. I was told to admit that I am powerless and to submit to a higher power." Fucking AA, man.
Yep.
It was unhelpful and humiliating. There was a mentality among staff that addiction is a moral failing in need of salvation. We were encouraged to pray. Ugh, that's gross.
Pray the addiction away.
It might work for some believers. I get that.
I'm going to say, AA may have its place. However, being the problem with it is being an officially sanctioned program that not only has
everybody
results,
to go to.
but you're required to, in depending on the capacity in which you you're required to attend. There's got to be other things available. I mean, honestly, sitting in a room and reflecting in your own life and not having a drink for a little while, being a drinker myself, would suck. but not demonizing yourself to a point that you don't even recognize where you're coming from, what you're doing, or your actual problem, because you have to give yourself up to a higher power that has no influence on your thoughts, your process, or anything in between.
So, Mr. Wood is an atheist, so the idea of admitting to a higher power makes no sense to him. He knows he can recover, but pretending like he's not in control of his life isn't the way he wanted to do it. So he attended AA for a while, but decided to stop. And because he stopped, he was fired. And so thankfully that was retroactively changed to a resignation a month after that. So he filed a human rights complaint against the Vancouver Coastal Health Authority and the BC Nurses Union, saying that they discriminated against him because of his atheism by forcing him to go through a religious treatment program, when there are secular and scientific alternatives were already available. But they were essentially punishing him for not believing in God. So he's having his pre-hearing in December, and I don't think it's going to be an issue. I think he's going to be able to state pretty damn clearly that, AA is not the only option. Why was this the only one available to me at the time? So, so good for him. I hope he gets back to work. I hope he gets his job back, and I hope he gets help with his alcoholism. I understand a lot of people have addictive personalities, and that sucks because I like to drink.
Yep.
Okay, so that's going to bring us to the end of our news for this week. We're going to jump away for a quick second in a commercial, and we'll be right back with the geekery. This is Utah Outcast. This is Kyle, this is X, and this is Jeff. We'll be right back.